My favourite Betfair trading market is horse racing for a number of reasons. The first one is there's so much of it. There's pretty much a horse race going on somewhere 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the second reason is that I find it relatively easy to trade, and that is because my favoured Betfair trading strategy is trading order flow. That means I can sit down and trade a market with the minimum amount of preparation and expect to profit from it. Now, it doesn't mean that I will profit from every race, but trading order flow is incredibly effective, and the fact that it requires so little preparation is one of the benefits of it and the reasons that I like trading horse racing. So what I did earlier today was, at the start of today's session, I just recorded the first 5 markets that I saw, 6 actually, if you include the one that I didn't actively look at or trade, the reasons for which will become apparent in this video. And I just traded them one by one. Each of them involved a slightly different style, but it gave you a good idea of typically how I would trade these markets. And I'll give you a hint here while you're watching this video. The best trade of the lot came on the very last race in this particular sequence. So yeah, without further ado, let's have a look at those races that I traded today. I've been successfully betting and trading for over 2 decades. If you want more videos like this and you want me to describe more of what I do, then give us a like. If you want to talk to like-minded people, visit the Betangel forum where you can do exactly that, but also visit our website where you can download a free trial of Betangel. So I was just watching this market and the price just flew out from basically 272 out to 315. So I'm going to back it on the basis that the price is going to correct. So we're just trying to catch this, outsized activity really here. To get support for this, we really want to see the second favourite go back in the other direction, because you can see that that plunged in and then headed out in the other direction. And because I've been talking, I haven't put my closing trades in, but typically what we would expect to do is just put all of our closing positions in a lower level below where we are within the market. But the basis on this trade was really simply that the price just rocketed out unexpectedly. There was no particular magic on this. We're just looking to catch it as it begins to come back in. If I bring up the chart, you can see that it went from 250 out to 3, stopped at 3, and we're just trying to catch this move as it comes back in the other direction. So I'm not trying to be precise about my exit. I'm just throwing a few orders in. I'm just basically trying to get this number here to equal that number. So you can see we're 50 over at the moment. If I just cancel off this one here, you can see that that brings it back to these two numbers equal, so that this ensures that we will exit at this particular, when all of these positions are closed. So yeah, no magic with this trade. We just saw the price run out. We're getting very close to the off, and we just thought we'd catch it as the market sort of went back to a more reasonable level. There was no particular logic in why the price would rocket out like that at that particular moment in time. So we just caught it as it came back in the other direction. So we're here in a competitive handicap, competitive because all the prices are roughly the same. And it's easy to overthink what you do in these particular types of races. But we can see there's been a reasonably large traded range here and a narrower one here and here as well. But these are at bigger prices. So let's focus on the second favourite here. We're going to use a basic stake here of £100. I'm going to put an order up here. I'm going to put one down here, and then as we approach this price at 8, if I put my closing trade in there, as we begin to touch the price at 8.2, that order will fill and we will have a profitable trade. So all we have to do is just wait for that order to fill. Is it going to fill? Well, we've got £146 here, 346 there. There's less here than there is there. So the likelihood is that the next move will be up in this particular direction. The reason that we're doing this is because we're on a handicap race and they're all at similar prices or at big prices. The market's just going to sort of wobble around. It probably won't have any particular direction. So you can see we're moving up towards where we put our other trade in the market. It's £200 there. We are £100 of that. So as soon as any of that money starts to fill at 8.2, it will take our order. So you can see it's slowly eating through that order, and our trade is complete. And at that point we can repeat the trade again if we so wish to do so. You can see that this is a £20 trade on its own, or it's about £2 or so fully hedged. But the idea is once you've done one of those trades, you just repeat the trade again and again until you're ready to exit the market, which will be around whatever criteria, but typically when the race is about to start. So the next race on the card we have is a handicap at Newcastle. It's a lower quality race, which means less money is in the market. But because the race at York went off late, we've joined it with about a minute to go. So that's not really enough time for us to do anything. Or if we were going to do something, we'd have to do it on lower stakes because we're taking much more risk. So necessarily you would go into the market and trade on a smaller stake size. But if you didn't want to, there's no reason why you could just skip this race and wait for the next one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to skip this race and wait for the next opportunity that comes along that's a bit better quality. So we're looking at the next race, but this isn't actually the next race. This is about 10 minutes away. But the next race is actually at Down Royal. And I've looked at this market fairly early on. It's a Group 3 race, so it's better quality. And when you get better quality races, you can see that the traded ranges are a little bit more contracted. So November here looks like it's been on a bit of a drift. So yeah, it drifted from 5s to 8s and then has flatlined. And we're seeing a bit of support for Oscular. But obviously the interesting thing here is that we're at the top end of the traded range on the favourite here, and it's near a crossover point. So if we do get the opportunity to lay at a crossover point, that is beneficial. But you can see it's been in quite a narrow traded range. It hasn't moved that far. So seeing a bit of support for Oscular makes me think that it's probably worth going in and laying the favourite here, because the advantage that we have is if the price goes up, we make 5% at a time. If the price goes down, we'll lose 2%. So we have a little bit longer to stay in the market if the price goes against us. And we haven't seen significant volume traded below 282. So this looks sort of quite interesting, really. So I'm going to add a little bit of money in here. And it doesn't mean that we will be successful and we will see the price go up. But let's have a look at the chart and see what it's been doing. It's sort of been in the range of 275 to 3. So a break above 3 would be significant, but we are risking that it could go all the way down here. So I'm focusing on these numbers here and saying how much am I willing to lose if it does go against us. A little bit of money in the market here makes me think that this is traded money. So you can see that there's a little bit of money above it and there's quite a bit below it. So I think somebody else has got a similar idea, and then there are big chunks above it. And then that money's been moved. So that looks like traded money to me. I'll be completely honest with you. That looks like traded money. I'm going to pitch mine up here and add a little bit more to it as well. And I'll pitch some below it. So I'm basically building a position in this market. And if the position went badly against me at this point, this isn't ideal because my potential loss is going up. But as we get closer and closer to post time, the volume will build and it will become easier to exit my position. So that's why I'm feeding money in at this moment in time, is anticipation of a move that may occur a bit later. And the closer we get to post, the more money there will be in the market and the easier it will be to exit. So I'm keeping an eye on these two prices here. And I'm sort of thinking that maybe these will get pulled at some point and the price will start to creep upwards. But we need a little bit of support from something, but that seems to be coming from Oscular. So we have our full fill in the market. We've got a £1,000 order in the market. You can see there's clumps of money above 3, which seem to be stopping it from going above that. So I need to see that money vanish in order to get a bit of a move. So now that we've had our position established and we're heading closer towards the time when the race is going to start to see more attractive volume, I'm just going to stick a few orders in here to take advantage of any price move that goes above that. So I've got £500 worth of open orders, about half my entire stake, sat just above where the current price is. And all that we can do now is sit and wait, because it looks like this money here is stopping it from moving up. So we need to see that money getting retested, and then we'll see what happens from there. So we're slowly inching towards the time when we're expecting a bit more money in this market. It's a bit slow at this moment in time. You can see the price has gone against me, but my key thing that I'm looking at here is most volume has been matched at 280, 282. If it breaks below that, this trade will be dead. But if the trade moves down in this direction, I won't exit the position until it goes firmly below that, because I'm expecting at some point for it to head back in the other direction. But that's what I'm looking at here. My exit point will be somewhere around here, and if it goes below this level here, then I will exit at that point for a loss. I will just have to accept that I got this wrong. So it's moving down at this moment in time, but we're still some way from the start of the race and when big money will arrive into this market. So I'm happy just to sit here at the moment and see if it tests those lower levels. So we're at the business end of the race, and we're expecting some more money to start arriving within this particular market. And this is where we'll begin to see if our theories are correct. So we'll keep an eye on the other runners. We can see Oscular has also hit a crossover point at about 6s. So if that breaks below that, we will expect the price to come in a bit further. That will be helpful to our overall position. And you could say that perhaps we didn't get in at the right time here, but nonetheless, we're not too deeply in the red. We've still got a couple of minutes before the race starts, and I would expect the price to start moving up as we approach that particular period. So let's see what happens as we come into the busy part of this particular race. They're just heading, well, they are at the start at the moment, and they're just about to start loading in a second. So we'll see a surge of money. This will dictate the direction in the closing minutes of the race. And what I'm hoping is that pushes it beyond 3. And then we can consider putting our closing remaining positions in the market at that particular point. Slightly frustrating that it went up to 3 but not through it. So we're keeping an eye on this number here. There's about 20% of the volume on the favourite has been matched at 3. And you can see there's only been about 10% above that at this particular moment in time. So we need to see that level tested again. When this ticks to sort of 20%, that would indicate that the price is going to go through and beyond that. But if it goes up to that, hits it, and we don't see any increase from there, then the price is probably going to come back down. So we're just holding our position at the moment. It doesn't look particularly exciting. And if we don't get that break, then we'll have to start to gently exit. So let's keep an eye on this number here, see if it gets topped up again. It has been topped up again. So what I'm going to do is, I've got 500 of my 1,000 in the market. I'm going to drop in a couple of those just below our entry point here to basically make sure that we're not too exposed. If we can't exit our position, we don't get that move. They're in front of the stalls at the moment. They haven't started loading, so we've still got plenty of time left. So I'm adopting a slightly more cautious approach here. We need to see this number tick up. We need to see this number tick up, preferably this one. Can you see it's stuck? So what I'm going to do is feed a little bit more money back in at this price. Again, we're just reducing the risk on our trade here. Let's see. Come on. Somebody take some money at 3.0. Thank you. Yes, I talk to myself when I trade as well. But you can see the money's been replaced fairly quickly. There's no concerted push above that level. Oscular has come for a little bit of money, but we're not seeing big moves anywhere. Kind Gesture has moved back out. So now that they're beginning to load, this is when we really begin to have to make sure that we get our position exited. I'm just going to feed some of these orders into the market at the current price. Cancel off a couple of these ones. There's quite a bit of money waiting to get matched there. Come on. They just loaded the first horse. Take out a little bit there. Oh, it's taking ages to get filled. Ridiculous. There we go. I've got £1,300 to get through to my next order at 3.1. That is just not going to happen. So I'm just going to exit that wherever. And because I talked about it, it cost me a little bit of money. So yeah, it never really happened. But can you see how we managed that? And because it was a Group 3 race, the range was reasonably well defined. We were hoping for a breakout. The breakout didn't come. So we just exited at what price that we could get. But yeah, Didn't really make anything on that, but we didn't really lose anything either. We made just a small profit. So let me set this race up for you. It's a handicap, but we've got a very short priced favourite, which is unusual because you shouldn't see this in a handicap. So this is a very well fancied thing. So I'm going to change my approach here. First of all, I've got to use bigger stakes because of the price of the favourite. And the theory here being that lots of people will probably want to get on this favourite on the basis that it's a sure thing, especially in a handicap. So I'm going to back it on the basis that when people see it go to post, and I'm keeping a very close eye on it, that it will look good going to post, and as it begins to load, and it loads nicely and all of those things, then some late money will come to start backing it. So I'm building a position on that basis. I want to go in here, and I'm expecting to see the price contract. I wish I'd got a little bit more in there actually. But you can see there's a little bit of price contraction already. But can you think about it? If you want to put £10,000 on the sure thing, you want to know that it gets to post correctly, and that it looks good, and you know it's going to justify its status as heavy odds on favourite. So yeah, as we get closer to the race, you'll start to see people begin to put a little bit more money back in on this sure thing. It won't move much, but it will move a little, and we can take advantage of that late money by getting in ahead of it and then putting our closing trades in front of that wall of money that's going to come late for this particular runner. So you can see me just carefully managing my exit positions here. And you can see, you know, in just seconds almost, we didn't quite get enough money on that we wanted. We didn't get these two orders filled, but in a very short period of time, we've managed to get that trade through the market to make £43 gross and £32 net. So yeah, that is probably going to be one of the simplest trades of the day. So what you've seen there are 5 races, 6 if you include the one that I deliberately skipped and didn't even look at, over the course of about half an hour. And that all adds up to a sort of reasonable total over the course of the day. And what you saw there is the result of many years worth of practice and trading hundreds of thousands of markets. There's no obligation for you to trade in exactly the same way. And in fact, I suggest that if you look at some of the other trading videos that I've done, they align a strategy to a certain market. And it's very often helpful when you're starting out that you adopt a certain trading style and then you wait for that opportunity to occur, because that will build your confidence and allow you to move on to other things. That was the way that I started. I adopted a very simple trading strategy, and it was only over time that I began to build out and acquire all of the skill to be able to trade many different markets in many different ways. And it is a skill. It's something that you learn and that you improve on over time, because when you first start trading, it's quite likely that you'll be behind the curve, you'll be battling the markets, and you'll be battling your own emotions and psychology as well. So you have to overcome all of that to be able to get to the stage where you're profitable. But you can do it, because I started in the same place as you. Other people have started in the same place. And really, when you approach the market, what you're trying to do is you're not trying to be better than the market or do something weird or amazing, or there's some amazing strategy that works on every single market. When you trade order flow, you're looking at the market, you're saying, oh, this is what I can see within the market, this is how it influences it, and you're trying to put yourself in the position to profit. Because it doesn't mean that you will profit, it just means that you're more likely to profit. And if you manage your trade well, it means that when you do get it wrong, you may actually even get away with a profit, like I did on one of these trades. Some people would have definitely made a loss there as the position went against them, but I just carefully managed that position, looked at what was going on, and managed the position out and made a small profit at the end of it. That really should have been a loss. And I do make losses. I typically lose on about 2 or 3 races out of 10, but what I'm trying to do is minimize the loss that I make when I make those mistakes. And sometimes the market just doesn't do what you think, and no matter how skilled or carefully you read the market, sometimes it just doesn't do what you want. And that is the way that markets work. Your objective as a trader really is to get into the market with a stake, get out of the market and take a little bit of profit with you effectively, and minimize any downside in doing that. And there is no reason why you can't do that. Like I said, you'll be behind the curve when you first start, But by building up your confidence on certain types of trade and then expanding your repertoire of trades that you can do in different types of markets, then it becomes more natural. Sort of second nature to me, but that is something that I've acquired over a period of time. Whether you want to trade every market or just isolated ones or look for certain opportunities, there are nearly always opportunities in racing markets, which is why I trade them so often and why I recommend that you give them a good look as well. Anyhow, I hope that video was useful for you.